everybody, it's Pam with Silver and Sparkles, and I was going to do a tutorial today to show you how to make one of these fabulous ephemera pockets. So ours is going to be similar but a little different. I have different pieces of paper and decorations, and we'll do the pockets a touch differently, but this is the prototype, and we'll see how ours turns out. So I hope you have a good time while we work on this together. So first thing you're going to need is, you don't have to put this on a piece of colored cardstock. You could just use some book page, but I'm going to use a piece of cardstock, or I printed it on a piece of cardstock from a kit that I have, and I just thought it was pretty. It's kind of a shame to cover it all up, but that's okay. We'll do it anyway. And you need some kind of book pages. I just got a book I'm working on. And then some pretty things to decorate with. So whatever you have on hand, any papers will do, and I hope you'll craft along with me. So I'm just going to set this over to the side for right now. So to make these pockets, and this one I did stitch, and I think we're going to do a no-sew option today in case you don't have a sewing machine. But if you do, you could even, stitch the diagonals on the pockets and sew it all together. And I do like how these turn out when I sew them, but I get a lot of requests from people saying I don't have a sewing machine, or I'm not confident with my sewing machine. So we're going to do a no-sew option. Okay, so I do double the pages for each of the pockets. I like them to have a little more heft to them, and we're going to do either 3 or 4. I haven't decided, but we'll see. And I like to have mine not have all the extra white, so I do tend to go ahead and tear the margins off. So I am going to want them to be pretty much the same width. I knew I needed to tear off a little bit of the text there because of the size paper that I'm going to back it on. I want to see some of the green, so I made it a little more narrow. Okay. All right, so you just get your paper prepped. And to make sure these are the same width, I'm going to lay this here to help me line it up. That way I don't have to measure. Okay. And if you don't want to tear your paper, you can always, of course, use a pair of scissors or use your paper trimmer cutter and cut it. You don't have to tear. All right, so I'm going to do a 2-page thickness to give it a little heft. And the first thing that I do is I just start kind of folding to see where I want my pockets to be. So this is 2 again, and this one I'm gonna fold this one. I don't know if you can see that. Let's see. That one I went all the way to the corner and made a point, and I'm not gonna leave that pointy, but we'll work on that in a second. And then this one I'm gonna bring over about 1 inch. And you're gonna see now how my pockets have started to stack. I could have brought this one even more, or we could even add another pocket that runs like this way. It's whatever you like. You really can do this however you like, okay? Now, I do need to obviously trim this off because I don't need this extra. Now, we can leave these pointy but I do like to cut them off. And we can, again, we can use scissors or we can tear. So I'm gonna tear the top pocket, or cut the top pocket first, just a touch. And then I'm going to cut the next one. And then my last one, I'm gonna do about right here. And you see how I just eyeballed that? There's really no mistakes. It depends on what you like. All right. Now I am going to use my Distress ink. This is the Walnut Stain color. Any color you want. You could use browns like I do. Sometimes I will use my blues or my pinks or my greens. But really any color you want, or you can skip this part. I like that little bit of emphasis of where the pockets are and the distress look. I tend to ink most of my junk journal projects to give it a little bit of a vintage look. Okay. And if you follow me on Instagram or Pinterest, you know I make a lot of these types of, this type and other styles of pockets and folders and things that you can keep your ephemera in, or to give you extra text spots within a junk journal. It's one of my favorite things about junk journaling is all the little bits and pieces and how you can then pull them out when you're using your journal or making other collages and have them right at your fingertips. And I never think I can have too many. And what's nice is then when I am putting a journal together, I have lots to go to, right? That I can just slide right in, or I can make them to coordinate the journal I'm working on. Okay, so now you see we've got pockets. So now it's really just the fun part. We're gonna start putting it together, decorating a little bit, and making some pieces that we think will look nice inside. And these would also be nice things that you could send if you happen to like to send friends. You know, if you have a pen pal or someone you send old-fashioned mail to, it would be a nice happy mail. Something to consider. All right, so the first layer I am going to, and because we're not sewing, we've got to glue really well. We're going to glue all the way down, and as you know, I haven't glued the two book pages together yet either, so we're going to have to do that as well. If we were sewing, I would probably just do a little bit of glue because, you know, the sewing would make certain I had it all held together really well. Oops. And this layer, honestly, because I'm mounting this on a piece of cardstock that has some heft to it, I really didn't necessarily need 2 layers of book page for the bottom, but that's the layer I had inked, so we need it on there. All right, now these have a fold, which is also helping to hold it together, but give it where hopefully it won't fray. But I want to go ahead before we glue this one down and glue this together, these 2 layers a little bit. Make sure they're nicely stuck together. So, this I'm sure is riveting to watch. You could, if you know how already to make pockets, you could certainly fast forward and skip ahead. But the key now that we're ready to put the pocket down is to leave it open. So you only want to put glue on these 3 sizes, and this is where these little bottles with the metal tips for applying the glue are your friend. because you can get a pretty thin bead of glue. And it doesn't then take up too much of your real estate inside your pocket. All right, so now that's still open. And we're gonna do the same thing for each of these. So I'm gonna make sure this is glued down. Whoa. The pattern paper kit that we're gonna use, this is one that I just got today. So excited. From Victoria Designs. And you know what? I'm gonna have to remind myself. It was My Botanical Journal. It's one of the new kits that she has. And I think it is beautiful. Some of the colors and how it all printed out is just gorgeous. Definitely had botanical in the name. It is one of my weaknesses is digital paper kits, because I love having new patterns and pieces to work with. So I did treat myself today to a new one. And of course, when you print them, you know, they look like this. And I love, my favorite are the ephemera sheets. So if you're interested, you can go to Victoria Designs and check her things out. But then she also has the pages, you know, that you can print, journal pages and then layer and use within your journals. And, you know, and I have made plenty of journals using her kits, but probably my favorite thing, like I said, is just getting those ephemera sheets and then just starting to decide what I want to make and what am I most interested in. So I haven't printed everything yet. I just went ahead and did a few sheets so that I could do this project and have some new pretties to work with. The nice thing about this particular Etsy shop too is if you sign up for her emails, periodically she will send out free sheets you can just click on and print and give you an idea if you like some of the different kits. Okay, so that's the basic construction. Now, like I said, if we were gonna sew, if I had wanted to, I could have sewn across here and then sewn the whole thing down and together. And this picked up something from my mat, something dirty. All right, and then when this goes in a journal, you know, this can just be clipped in, but you can also have, we've got 1, 2, 3 pockets. You can really have a 4th pocket, either top loading here, depending on how you adhere it, or to one of the sides. Or you can just glue it down flat. Again, it's completely, you know, what interests you at the time. I think this is tall and we might make something out of that. And I haven't, again, like I said, I have not cut everything out or prepped everything. I just did a couple of sheets and put them here to look at. And this is obviously too wide for the pocket we made. But again, if you were really careful in gluing this down into a journal, you could, this would fit as a side load, which would be really fun and interesting, I think. All right, so let's see what we have. And I'm probably going to, like I did with the prototype, add a few ribbons and maybe some brads or eyelets once I get going and I see what I have. The other thing we're going to do on this one that's a little different is I am going to make a small pocket that is going to load this way. So what I have to do is make sure I tear my paper about the depth that I want the pocket. Okay, so that looks good to me. And then I don't want it hanging over like that. So I actually like this page better. I have some of these little bobs and bits that I don't want to get lost in that deep pocket. So that's what made me decide we're going to just add an extra. And then we can decorate the front, but also see the little pieces that we put in. And again, I am going to, whoa, I didn't do that right. So we're going to glue, I put it on the wrong side. We're going to glue that together. Make sure it's inked the way we want it. And now we're just gonna glue down the 3 sides. And someone, I heard on a video somewhere, hold it on the side you don't want the glue, and then you won't mess up. Okay. All right, so now if we choose to put some of these tiny pieces, they won't get lost where you can't see them or find them. Okay. It is springtime, and this kit, the one thing I will say is this kit, even though it has some really bright colors, some of it looks maybe a little fallish, which is okay with me. I don't mind, but I've been lately going for lots of pinks and yellows and bright colors. And this one is a little muted, but still pretty. Okay. Whoa. So it really is just up to your imagination at this point. Look at that fabulous squirrel. It's up to, you know, what you want and how full you want to stuff it. And how you want to decorate them. Ooh, isn't that one pretty? I think that, well, somebody that knows what flower this is, tell me. I am not sure. My grandmother, Opal, would have known. She would have been able to tell us if she was still here. She would be able to immediately let us know. I'm trying to decide where I want to put this one. Well, what that is. To show the blue a little. Okay. Now, across here, what do I want? This was really fun to me. I think it looks like asparagus, but then I'm not quite sure why it's red instead of green. Again, if somebody knows, tell me. And I'm gonna stick this right here. It's gonna close off our pocket just a little bit, but I'm okay with that because I really like it and want to be able to look at it. Okay. And then look at this fabulous shoe. We may just tuck it in there as something to look at. I could see this on a collage and adding a lot of interest. Okay. And there's these little dots that came with this kit as well. And I'm not quite sure what they are, but I think they're supposed to look like buttons. And there were several. There's some little bugs. So we may put these on here as well. And this really is my process. I don't usually have a complete plan when I start out, but I definitely love to make things for all my little treasures. And I like these little tags that came with it. You know, I could see a little bulb clip and clipping that onto something. Be super fun. All right, so I'm not gonna go crazy with this one. I think I'm gonna just stick these down so they look like little glass buttons. And then, let's see. I think we need, especially so we don't lose any of these in this deeper pocket, we need some ribbons. And this could go on even a larger tag. I'm going to put it there for now. So for our Mr. Squirrel, let's see what we have. I'm looking at just what do I have laying here on my desk. And I think I'm going to go with this piece of, it's a little bit wider, which I like, and it has some sparkle to it. All right, we're not going to lose him now. And then let's see what else I have laying around. I have this new, it's really fine. I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do with it yet, but it's definitely vintage. It's distributed by Rainbow Gallery, North Hollywood, California. I got it at the scrap place in Baltimore. It's going to have a home at some point, or I'm going to do multiple things with it. Oh, look at this cute little envelope I just found, made out of some sheet music. I think I'm going to stick him in there too. Let's see. How about, for some interest, I do a little brad. I think a brad in this corner, and I could use my paper piercer to make a hole, make it a little easier on myself, but I didn't. Okay, that gives that a little interest there. And then let's see, I have this fabulous new navy seam binding I also got when I was at scrap. Look at this, guys. See how, I mean, I have no idea how old this is, but it has a wood core, and it's just seam binding. I got it, I think, for $1.50, what was left of the spool. And of course I opened it up and it unwound, and it was gonna bother me if I didn't fix it a little bit. Okay, but then I took some off this morning. This is why it has a case, I think, which cracked a long time ago, is because it falls off of that spool really fast. But I just used water and dampened it and then let it dry so it has some crinkle to it. Kind of like when I dye my white seam binding, it ends up with this nice crinkle to it, and that's what I was going for. So we're going to use a little piece on this one. Let's see. There we go. And I think I'm going to take one of these, or it's a different color one. I think I'm going to just set it right there. Glue it on. Cover that little staple up a little bit, just to give it a little more interest. Look at that. Cute, right? All right. So again, just kind of grabbing things that are at arm's length, or arm's reach. All right. What do you guys think? We could keep going, obviously, because it's a fabulous pocket, but I think I'm going to leave it there for now. I hope you like it. I hope it inspires you to try one or something similar. So have a great day. If you haven't already, please subscribe. It means a lot, and it sure helps me. Thanks, everybody.